I found that people don't always tell the truth. For example, one woman who sounded lovely, we went back and forth many times, rented the house for her husband and two boys for a weekend. Well, it turned out that it was prom weekend in Granbury, and she allowed her underage son with all of his friends to have an unsupervised after prom party at my house.
Mm.
And there was $1,000 worth of damage and 3 huge bags of alcohol. Airbnb was amazing. I sent them receipts and they reimbursed me. No big deal.
Welcome to Live, Let, Thrive, a podcast about the Airbnb life, the share economy, and everything in between. Here are your hosts, Micah and Steve.
Hello, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Live, Let, Thrive, your favorite Airbnb podcast. It's going to be a solo up again with me, just me, and Micah couldn't make this one, so we have a special guest, though, that's going to be telling us all about her Airbnb experience, and her name is Leslie Farin. Hello, Leslie.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Doing great, thanks.
Well, that's good. So, I sent a thing out, a post on the Airbnb professional host page, and asking anybody wanted to hop on, and Leslie said she would. So cool. Can't wait to hear all about her Airbnb experience. So, could you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, Leslie, and tell us who you are, where you from, where you currently live?
Sure. Leslie Farin. I currently live in Plano, Texas, and I'm originally from New Jersey. You can probably tell by the way I speak.
Oh, Joyzy.
Yeah. Been here since 1996, so I've been here a long time. And the Airbnb is in the Granbury area.
Oh, nice. It's a beautiful area over there.
Mm-hmm. It's the northernmost tip of hill country.
Oh, cool. It's a nice little country spot in Texas, and they're known for their bed and breakfasts, aren't they?
They are. Mm-hmm.
And is that what you run? Do you run a full bed and breakfast, or just you're just doing the Airbnb?
Yeah, I just do an unhosted rental with Airbnb. It's the whole house, and they have full use of the gourmet kitchen.
Oh, nice. All right. So, how long have you been doing Airbnb, and what got you into it?
Honestly, just since February. But we've been very busy. Surprisingly, because we're about 20 minutes north of Granbury, so it's more rural even than Granbury. I'm sorry, what was the next question?
Oh. Well, okay. What got you into doing Airbnb?
Oh, what got us into it? Well, I was looking for a project, basically. I kind of wanted a lake house, and this was a way I could do it that made it affordable. So that's where it started. The reason it's built with universal design in mind is because my mom was in a wheelchair. She passed in December, but prior to that, I just realized how difficult it was to go anywhere. And I just thought this was a niche that needed to be filled because there are very few places people with mobility issues can go on vacation easily. It's hard.
Wow. First of all, sorry about your mom passing away.
Thank you.
And that's true with the mobility issue thing, because my mom's in a wheelchair, and it's the last trip we took was to Cabo. No, we went to Puerto Vallarta with her, and it was it's really tough, going, especially car to airport to other country, and it was I think that was going to be her last trip. She doesn't want to go through all that anymore, but it's a huge problem, and that's cool. That I'm glad that someone's doing something about it, and there are people doing something about it. And so what all goes into, I mean, you had already fixed up this house for your mom, But what all goes into doing such a thing, and how costly is that?
To make it accessible.
Yes.
I actually built it. I designed it and built it because the cost of doing the renovations was so high that it was really less expensive for us to do it from the ground up. The roll-in shower, all that kind of stuff, it's just, if you start from ground zero, it's not, there's no additional expense, really, very, very little. But if you go into a shower that's already built and it has a lip on it, and then you try to get the drainage right so it's a roll-in shower, that's a lot of money and effort.
Yeah, that is. And so were you always like pretty good, pretty handy, like a do-it-yourselfer before this?
I didn't physically build the house. I made a lot of phone calls.
Oh, okay. I was still impressive.
I am creative though, and my dad designed his house in 1976. When he was 40, for some reason, he decided it was going to be his last house, and it's completely accessible at a time when nobody was doing it and thought he was crazy. And now he's 88 and he's still in it, and with the wide doorways and, one story and all that.
Wow,
so
that's awesome.
I took his plans and I just modified them to meet my needs. We did it together.
That's awesome. And who told you about Airbnb? Who got you into it or suggested for you to do it?
Oh, I've used it. I've had some good experiences and bad staying in other people's Airbnbs, so I had a good idea of how I wanted to host. And we've already become Superhost in the short time we've done it, which is nice. It's been fun.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
That's cool. See, that's what I like to try to I would say borrow, but steal ideas whenever I do travel around. And I've used Airbnb for years, and I thought it was the coolest thing. People renting out their houses to other people, and of course it's great that it's cheaper than hotels. It was back then. It's creeping up there a little bit, but anyways, it's still a great value. And so yeah, but after I became an Airbnb host, I went ahead and I saw things differently. And when I travel, I look exactly. Oh, that's a cool place to put the soap, or the soap. That's a nice soap dish, or that's a cool, that's a cool thing to provide to your guests. Some cleaning supplies right there at the ready for them, and you just start seeing things with different eyes. And of course, leaving the place spotless. Hopefully, you hosts are good guests out there.
Most have been good. At first. When I first started out, I accepted anybody who was interested because we needed to get some reviews. And I found that people don't always tell the truth. For example, one woman who sounded lovely, we went back and forth many times, rented the house for her husband and 2 boys for a weekend. Well, it turned out that it was prom weekend in Granbury, and she allowed her underage son with all of his friends to have an unsupervised after prom party at my house. And there was $1,000 worth of damage and 3 huge bags of alcohol. Airbnb was amazing. I sent them receipts and they reimbursed me. No big deal.
Wow, that's great.
I think that they probably went after the people to get their money back. I'm sure they got minimally the security deposit they had to put down, and I don't know what else they got. But I really liked that I didn't have to argue with them. I just got the check from Airbnb.
That is great. And it's kind of scary. Like if you had jumped on the Airbnb Professionals Hosts Facebook page before an incident like that, you'd have probably be like, oh crap, because all these people, it seems like a lot of them complain about thousands of dollars worth of damage and Airbnb not doing anything about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of posts like that on that page. A lot of people complaining and stuff. So it's great.
Oh, I've heard nothing but good things. You do have to prove it. You have to send pictures and receipts and all that, which makes sense.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, I was more concerned about the underage drinking. If somebody had jumped in the lake, it is a lake house. There's dangerous things going on. If someone had gotten in a car and left, I don't know if I would have been liable. And we also have a strict HOA, and that's why I write right on the page, no parties. And, I could have been forced to stop.
Exactly. And real quick, you just have the one listing right now?
Yeah, just the one.
Do
I
you-
actually live most of the time in Plano.
Oh, okay.
So we go up there when it's not rented.
Oh, nice. And do you rent out your Plano house when you're not there?
No, we don't. I have too much stuff.
Too much stuff. Yeah, I'm currently trying to convince my wife to let us rent our house out when we're not here, when we go on vacation. So I thought that's a good way to make money. It's just sitting there, might as well make some money. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff too. So it's a.
I have a friend who does that. Every time they go on a vacation, they rent it out and it pays for the vacation. It's kind of brilliant, actually. And what they did is they had an extra bedroom that they just got a lock for, and they throw everything in there that they don't want people to touch, lock it up, and the rest of the house is, for the guests. And it's worked really well for them. I just don't want people touching my stuff.
Yeah. That see, I've been thinking about that too, and we do have like an extra add-on room, which is my wife's. I'm building her a beauty salon in there, because she does
wow.
esthetician, facial care, all that stuff, and so anyways, I mean, it's coming along pretty good. But I told her, when we go out of town, I'll just lock the beauty salon, put all I want to say stuff, all our junk in there, and that that we don't want people messing with, and then get back, you just put it all back. And so she's coming around to it. And one thing I thought of, well, I'm probably gonna have to get another fridge too, because to put in there, so I can take all the food and everything out of the fridge and keep it in the second fridge in her beauty salon.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
So yeah, lots of possibilities. That's what's great about this. So you said your place is great for kids too, right?
Yeah, I don't like having a lot of kids there, just because the normal wear and tear. But it's, I think every new house should be built with universal design, just because you have clear sight lines, open concept. You don't have a lot of clutter. It's just easier. The lighting is more appropriate. The light switches are lower, all that kind of stuff. I think it's easier for parents.
So how did you get your experience in design?
Oh, I have none. What makes you think I have experience in design?
Well, you said you designed the house, right? And like other people.
I did. I just asked my dad for help because he had designed his. I'm a marketing person. That's what I do during the day. I actually have a magazine that's coming out, its first issue in September, called FYI 50 Plus. And on the side, I have a pottery studio in my garage. So I have a creative bent, and my dad's an engineer, so together we were able to make it nice.
Oh, nice. That's a cool idea for a magazine, FYI 50 Plus. And what made me think of right away is there's a lot of people that are 50 plus. A lot of, especially, there's articles out there, especially ladies that are getting into the Airbnb world. They're starting to rent out their places, or they have like a mother-in-law suite, something like that, and they really love the hosting aspect of it.
Yeah, and it's company. It's if they're alone and and they feel comfortable with the person.
Yeah, and they can make them some cookies and tea. I'm drinking some tea right now, by the way, Leslie.
That's really good to know. Thank you.
All of our fans know that I can't do a podcast without my hot cup of tea.
Hot tea. It's 94 degrees out.
Yeah, I gotta have it. It soothes my golden vocals.
Okay.
And so, that's a great idea. And of course, in that magazine, I guess you're gonna tackle the topic of Airbnb. I don't know.
Maybe. maybe we can include you on our website if that's what you're specializing in and you want to get more people to listen to your station. I'm not sure where this is going to air. It's a podcast, but where is it hosted?
Well, we're on the internet, and so we like people on iPhones. You can access us up on iTunes and podcasts. It's like podcasts are this cool thing where anybody can like make a I say radio show or any type of show, any topic, whatever, and business, art, entertainment, whatever you like, and you can make a show. And so you put it up there on the internet. We have our own website too, liveletthrive.com. People can find us there, and they can listen to our show there, or they can listen to us.
I'm sorry, Live what Thrive?
Live Let Thrive.
Okay, got it.
.com. Like, I kind of made that title like
Clever.
I'm sorry.
It's clever.
Oh, so you get it. Yeah, a lot of people don't get that, but yeah, live,
Oh.
let, like, room to let, and then
I get it.
and then thrive. She gets it. So you're from Jersey. You get it. You get the street smarts.
If you met me, you wouldn't say I was street smart.
So who has better pizza, Jersey or Chicago?
Oh, definitely New Jersey. Oh my gosh, not even a contest. I was just in Chicago and I went and had pizza just to see. I didn't love it. I have to say I didn't love it.
You didn't love it?
I did not love the Chicago pizza. No, I did not.
It's a big pie, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my little...
So one of the things I noticed about Airbnb, when I went to London, I got one. I was meeting my son there who was doing a semester abroad. And so we got this apartment, and I've heard this is pretty common. They left all of their stuff there. They actually lived there and were renting it out and moved in with their parents for the week I was there just to make some money. But they didn't empty their closets, nothing. And it was exactly as they left it. It was kind of interesting. There was no room for me to unpack any clothes. So I'm really careful to have the closets empty and the drawers empty. I think people need to unpack and feel like it's theirs for the time they're there.
Yeah, I've stayed at ones like that, and it's weird. It's like, oh, it's other people's clothes and shoes, and it's just weird.
And towels. Yeah, I felt very uncomfortable. I didn't want to touch anything.
Yeah. I definitely. Well, we rent out a house. We the house we used to live in, and of course it's empty. We keep it. It's just used for Airbnb. And but this of course, if we left here, I would throw. That would be a hassle, having to throw everything into one room. But I'm starting to think about it. But yeah, we would definitely do that. Not.
Am I talking you out of the idea? I'm sorry.
I just thought of that. Man, we have a lot of stuff. You don't really know how much stuff you have till you move, and it would be like kind of like moving every time we go on vacation. And I don't know.
Well, it would be, and even in the house we rent out, it's very sparsely furnished, and there's really not any stuff there. But I still want to lock up all the power tools and anything that could be an issue, especially with kids. So, it takes some time to do that every time I have a guest. I have a cleaning service that comes in between, but they're not me. I still need to go back and forth and check in between guests. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like I need to.
Oh, that you do it?
I hire somebody to clean, but it's not me. They don't do any of the nice little extra touches. So, yeah. Do you go back and forth in between when people stay?
Well, I'm fortunate that my wife does like 99% of the cleanings, and so she knows exactly how we want the house to look, and we set out a bottle of wine and some snacks and waters in the fridge, and so we know all the the little touches and stuff. And of course, she cleans it real good because it's our house. But
right.
But when we do, the only
in it.
Yeah, and plus, she volunteered to do the cleanings because she wanted to get the cleaning fee, which is pretty smart. And so I didn't ask her; she just volunteered. I was like, okay, cool, yeah. If you clean it good, then I'll pay you instead of someone else. That's great. Keep the money in house, and in house means in the woman's purse.
Yeah, I know what it means.
And so, No, but like when we do, the only time we have other people clean is when we go out of town. That's the only time. So, and
Yeah.
yeah, you just, can't hop back in and check when we're out of town. But I have a cousin and an aunt that helps out a lot. And I've hired a cleaning service a couple times. But most cleaning service, like you said, they don't know all the small touches. They know how to get in there, sweep, mop, boom, 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 knock it out, and leave. They don't know how to all the stuff that goes into a cleaning an Airbnb.
Right, exactly. The bottle of wine you mentioned is a great idea. Once I started leaving a bottle of wine and some snacks, people seem to really feel like they were guests in somebody else's home, and they seem to take even better care of it. So it's amazing what a small little touch like that it's so helpful.
Oh, big time. And they don't have to be an expensive bottle either.
Right, right.
And so, what was I gonna say? The because you said that, yeah, the more super clean a place is, the more probability that they're not going to mess it up. Is that true?
Well, it seems like everybody comments on how clean it is. It's almost sterile, which I want it to be like that because it gives the idea that that's kind of how I want it to look when they leave. And other than the two problems I had, it has been. I didn't tell you about the other issue I had. It was a nice guy and his girlfriend and then his two kids who didn't live with him. They lived with his ex-wife. And they stole the blankets, all of them.
Oh.
And I have really good, comfortable, expensive bedding there. Better than I even have in my own house, just because I want it to be really a relaxing vacation.
Yeah.
And the father thought, he didn't recognize the blankets, but he thought they could have been from his ex-wife's house. And he knew right away when I asked him, where he had put the blankets, he knew that the kids had taken them, and we got them back. But it was very funny. I mean, the kids actually sent a text saying, but they're so soft, we want them. We thought they were free like the shampoo. That was very funny.
Now, how do you provide amenities? Do you go high end, or do you leave a whole bottle, or like a dispenser, or just small little ones?
Of shampoo and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just buy the small sample size, and I just refill them, put new ones out every time.
Oh, nice. Instead of buying the small samples every time, you just refill them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. Save some money.
Mm-hmm.
And
the trip saves me a trip to the store because there's not a lot of stores around there. It's pretty rural.
Now, would you ever host a wedding or event?
I could, because there's a beautiful arbor overlooking the lake, but right now, because it's so new and it's on the top of a hill, I'm not sure how safe it would be, so probably not.
Don't want the bride rolling into the lake, I guess.
Yeah. And we also, I don't know where your Airbnb is, but we have issues. There's critters and snakes and wild boars and, other stuff.
Oh, wow. So you're in the sticks.
Oh, yeah. It's rural Texas, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, I like that.
Where's
I like that.
yours?
I'm sorry?
Where is yours?
Hurst, Texas.
Oh, Hurst. Okay.
Yeah, right up, kind of close to the airport.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, it's doing pretty good for me. I could I've talked about mine, a bunch on the show, and it's like we lived there, and then we just we decided to move, get another house, and what's cool about when you do like a house hack Airbnb, like when you jump from one house to the next, you could just leave all the furniture behind and start Airbnb, day one.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Which is what we did, and but now, we lived there, we were comfortable in the stuff that was there, but now man, I mean, I'm starting to see a bunch of really nice Airbnb. I've stayed at nice Airbnbs that are really, affordable, and I'm like, wow, I really need to up my game. I just I need to go a little higher in, like you did with the blankets and the sheets.
Although you probably have a good location for people who are, coming to the area.
Yeah,
Mine, no, nobody would come to mine to work in Fort Worth, or you know what I mean? It's just too far out there. So I have a question for you. Why Airbnb it? Why not just rent it out?
rent it out full time.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cheaper for you. They'd be paying the electricity and everything else.
Well, I do. Our first house is a long term rental, and
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, when you listen to the first few episodes, you'll find out my journey with that first house, and it's I've had the same. See, it was about it's going on 3 years since we moved out of that house. 3 years, something like that, and I'm going on 2 years. I'm sorry, 2 years since we moved out of that house. And I lived there for several years. I lived there for like 7, 8 years before we moved out. And so, anyways, I just said, well, that was before Airbnb kind of crossed my mind, but I was like, well, I'm gonna jump into the real estate world. I might as well just start with a long term, secure, safe, long term rental. And I did that. And my renters at first were kind of didn't pay the rent on time a lot, and
Oh boy.
there was just long-term renting it can be tough, and so having to track down the rent, having to deal with all this stuff, and she was going through issues at the time. It did eventually stabilize, and she pays rent on time now. And they're going on 2 years there. But at first, I still got the first couple months, and this is easy. But then slowly but surely, they started slipping on the rent a little bit. And as a first-time landlord, you don't have your what's it called? Your processes in place where, okay, you're 1 day late, I'm gonna give you you got like 2 days grace, and then you're getting an eviction notice. I didn't have all that stuff down, and so I just kind of let it slide, and it was just a headache, and just a praying that they'd pay rent that month kind of thing. But it got better, and it makes decent money. But I just decided, because I've been always fascinated with Airbnb. And I met Micah, my partner on the show, at a I call it a Bigger Pockets meetup, which is a real estate meetup. And he told me about he's just making so much money on Airbnb. I mean, like double what his long-term rentals would do. And so I said, well, and I told him I've done a podcast in the past, so we should do a show together and talk about this Airbnb stuff. And so we started our show. I hadn't had my Airbnb yet, but I said, well, we're going to move out of this one into the next one, so I might as well put my money where my mouth is. And so I decided to Airbnb it. If anything, I thought even if I broke even, it would give us good quality conversations for the show. So that's why I started, and it's been doing way better than my long-term rental.
Okay.
Yeah.
And people aren't there long enough to create a lot of damage, so that's good.
Knock on wood. I've only had one wild party there, so it's. Other than
And
that.
my question is, I ask everybody this: how much insurance do you have in addition to your homeowners? Do you have an umbrella policy, or do you think you don't need it? I'm never sure which way to go.
Well, I just have the regular insurance still. I didn't. Yeah, well, they say Airbnb says it has the $1 million policy, so
Right, they do say that, but and then is it in your name, or have you established some kind of LLC, or how is?
It's still in my name. I haven't
It's
done
still-
the LLC
okay.
thing yet. Yeah, I need to really start examining that. But yeah, as far as right now, it's still in my name.
Okay, well, that might work for you. I'm just always interested in how people do it.
How do you have yours?
Well, we set it up as an LLC because we rented out our house in New Jersey for a while when we moved here, and there can be problems, and we just, didn't want any of our personal stuff. We had 2 kids in college. We didn't want our personal income attacked. So we just decided to do an LLC here right from the start.
That's a great idea, and I do need to
It
look
takes-
into that.
10 minutes, you can do it online. You don't need a lawyer, and it costs about $300. To me, it was just well worth the peace of mind.
So what website did you use for that?
Well, I'm going to have to look.
It's all right.
I'll send it to you. If
Yeah.
you just Googled LLC in Texas, you'll get the website. You'll also come up with a lot of sites that say they want to charge you to do it for you, but don't do that because it's really very easy to do.
Oh, cool. I will do
So
that.
if you want to send me your email by Facebook or something later, I can send you the link.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, sweet. And like, do you have? Because I hear they have in Texas the blanket LLCs, like I think you were talking, or umbrella LLCs, where you can put them all under one or something like that, but they're still separate. Is that true?
Yes.
And that's what you is that? Oh, well, you only have the two houses, right?
Right. I didn't do that because of my other business is the magazine, and I have a different partner, so I just did it for that reason. So I have them separate. I just did two different LLCs.
Oh, cool. So,
And also, if you have an LLC, you're eligible to get PPO insurance as opposed to, I don't know if you have another job where you get insurance. I don't. And I didn't like the HMO that was available in Texas. There's only one that's available for people who are self-employed. So with an LLC, you're eligible to get better insurance.
wow, that's some great advice right there for our listeners, especially the Texas ones, right?
I only know in Texas. I don't know what it's like anywhere else. But I also know that a lot of insurance brokers don't know about it. I had to call quite a few before I found one who was really knowledgeable and helped me through it.
That's really, wow. That could save someone a lot of money and headache right now. Just hearing that information.
It doesn't save me money because it's more expensive. It's about $500 a month more expensive than the HMO was, but all my doctors are on it. It gives much better coverage. You know, the copays kick in right away, whereas the HMO is terrible.
Yeah. Insurance is a beatdown. Well, being a single dude most of my life, it was not really a big deal. I hardly ever went to the doctor, but now I got a wife and a baby, and yeah, it's our 14-month-old. Well, when she was a year, we had to go to the hospital, and it cost. And I saw the actual cost. Luckily, I have good insurance with my work. But yeah, the actual cost was like for 2 days at the hospital just monitoring. It was like over $16,000, and I was just like,
yeah, it's crazy. I don't know how people do it.
I don't know how people do it either. We were there 2 days. I mean, you imagine people that are there for weeks or months or years. I mean, it's got to be millions. It's just got to be millions of dollars, right?
It's got to be. Yeah, it's crazy.
But just we got to do what we can, I guess. And
so what do you do when you're not doing this?
What do I do?
Job?
I work at an airline. I work at American Airlines. I've said it on the show before. Yeah. So I do logistics, shipping and receiving, doing dealing with airplane parts, stuff like that.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, this is the first time I've been interviewed. This is pretty cool. You've turned the tables.
That's what I do all day long for my magazine. So.
Oh, okay. We're like dueling here, battling. Yeah, so I work there, which is cool. That's, one of the reasons I travel a lot because I fly for free, and so that was perfect. Airbnb came along at the perfect time in my life.
Yeah.
And so any more questions?
No, I'm done. You don't sound open to questions, so I'm done.
It's just different, I usually the one asking questions, but this is cool. Yeah. Yeah, just don't do no, Oprah stuff, and I'll start crying on air. That probably wouldn't be good for the fans. And so, you started, like you said, it's like a niche business, kind of a business model. What you have, being very accessible for people with disabilities, and
actually, it's probably good for your listeners to know Airbnb has a whole section of accessible. Accessibility is a big deal to them.
Oh, cool. And I would assume you'd probably be more profitable by being more accessible, right?
No, I keep my prices pretty much in line. I don't think people should have to pay more just because they're disabled.
Well, no, I didn't mean gouging the disabled or anything. I just meant kind of like you're probably more, you would get more bookings because of it, I would think.
It's kind of interesting. Only maybe 50% have had some kind of disability, and the rest, some had small kids, and then the others just thought it was a pretty house.
Oh, nice. And do you allow pets?
I do not, and I get very annoyed because I've had 4 people in the last 2 weeks contact me for a long-term rental for 4 weeks to 6 months because they're building a house or whatever. And we went back and forth negotiating. At the very end, they told me they had a dog, all of them. I have it written really big and bold on the profile that I do not take pets because we all have bad allergies. And once that, even if the dog's really good, the hair gets all over the place, and it's just too hard for us.
Wow. But here's the thing. What if it's a service animal? Are you allowed to turn it down?
I did have one person contact me about a service animal, and I had decided to let them come, and she ended up finding something else closer to her location, so it didn't work out anyway.
Oh, okay, because I hear that we could get hit with a discrimination charge if we don't let them.
Yeah, I can prove pretty easily that I have really bad allergies. So, I health issues are a concern too.
Yeah, that's great. I have bad allergies too, everybody. Dinosaurs. Are there is that where the dinosaur footprints are? Is that Granbury?
They're in Glen Rose, very close.
Glen Rose, yeah. And yeah, because I remember going there as a kid and just like going into like the river there, and there's dinosaur footprints. It was crazy.
Yeah, your son will love it. Is it a son or a daughter?
I have a daughter. I have 2 daughters actually. I have an 11-year-old and a little 14-month-old.
Okay, how fun. So you have like 2 only children. I like that. You can give them both individual attention.
Exactly.
Well, my boys are close in age. They didn't have that luxury.
Yeah. It's a change. It's a change. Having kids, because flying before kids was a breeze, and flying with kids is a headache, a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not so bad. We flew to Maui with our youngest, and with our 14-month-old, and she did real good. She did really good.
Oh,
She
good.
slept most of the time. And yeah, so where do most of your guests come from?
As far as location,
Yeah.
I'd say Texas. I had 4 women from Maine last week,
Wow.
but most of them have been from Texas. They were college professors, and they had some kind of program to present somewhere nearby.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I think a lot of people say they want to, when they come to Texas, I guess they see the movies and they say they want a real Texas experience,
Right.
the wide open skies and stuff like that. So I would think that you would attract some maybe some international people.
No, haven't yet.
No. Oddly enough, when I first started, and yeah, I got them from all over the world, even like Korea and Japan, and yeah, just from all over. But it's just interesting how who ends up staying at your place. It's
Yeah. Most of the people seem very nice and very respectful. I had one guy send me $100 tip for some reason. He really liked the place. It was very nice.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and then I had somebody else leave a gift. It was, like a housewarming gift kind of thing, like you would do if you're going to somebody's home.
Right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to get another Airbnb or just this one?
I'd like to get more. I think that this is an important mission. I'd love to have a slew of them, but, as everything else, it costs money, and so we'll see.
And is it, would you get it in the same area?
I'm not sure. I have a friend who has 3 in Austin and does really well. So, I don't know. I mean, I probably would get it somewhere where I'd like to go, because really the bottom line is the idea is we use this house as our own, and the funds we get is just a way to finance it.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's like ends to a means, but you enjoy doing it as also. You said your friend in Austin, they had 3. Now, I always heard that Austin had real strict Airbnb rules. Like, you could only Airbnb out of your house. Is that true?
Yes, it's been a headache for them, for sure. I guess there's ways to get around it, but it's definitely not as easy as it is other places.
Right.
By the same token, they don't allow Uber because they want their cab drivers to be able to make a living.
Yeah. I guess their big excuse is Uber and Lyft don't do the background checks, but it's pretty much to protect the cab industry over there. I'm thinking.
So Airbnb has started. This is kind of annoying to me. After I had those 2 issues, I decided no longer to take people unless they were already on Airbnb and had good reviews. And I kept getting these notices from Airbnb saying I was cutting my potential, renters in half or whatever. It seems they really, really want you to take first-time Airbnbers into your house, and they highlight the people who do more than the others. Have you noticed that, or I don't know which you do.
Oh, I do Instant Book, and
You do Instant Book. Okay.
yeah, but they really, really first of all, they try to push everybody on Instant Book, right? And second, yeah, that's what I've heard that too. That they don't like it when people turn down potential renters, potential guests.
Yeah.
And
I just found that all of my Instant Books were not as good as the other ones. So.
Wow.
And we're busy enough that I feel like I don't really need to do it. You've had good luck with yours, obviously. Maybe I should give it another try.
Yeah, for the most part. For the most part, I've had good luck. There's been a few that are just a little bit messy, but not too bad. And do you like put it in your what helped me? I'll tell you real quick backstory. What helped me kind of turn things around a little bit, because I mean I would get the messy one every now and then that would leave dishes in the sink and stuff like that, be a little bit messy. And when I went to an Airbnb actually in Corpus Christi one time. And in her in her rules, or not rules, kind of like house rules or house guide or whatever, she mentioned in there and what's expected, from the guests. And the guests were expected to wash and put away their own dishes, and take their trash out to the trash can. Is that a condo? And I'm cool with that, whatever. It was they did charge what's it called, deposit, like a $500 deposit, which I'm not scared of because I know that Airbnb deposits aren't real deposits anyways. And
right.
And so I wouldn't, being a host, I'm like, that's not even real, whatever, go ahead and charge what you want to charge. And so but the way she worded it is like, well, and you'll get your full refund back as long as you comply to cleaning up after yourself and taking your trash out, doing your dishes. And so I was like, that's kind of ingenious. It's not asking a whole lot, but it's kind of ingenious because it gets into the guest's head that, well, I better do that, And so I decided to work that. I don't charge a deposit, but I kind of decided to work that into my listing by saying, I did the whole, I do my whole welcome to the Airbnb. Here's all the ins and outs of the place, and at the very bottom, and also I put like what's expected of the guest, and I said, please do your dishes, and before you leave, before checkout, please do your dishes. Be sure your dishes are done. And spruce up a little bit. I said and put your trash out front. I said it doesn't have to be perfect, but these little things help us, keep the prices low and really helps us out a lot. And after I put those words in there, I mean, everybody's done it, and no one's had a problem with it, and I've still gotten the 5 stars. And so I'm like, wow, that's kind of. I was afraid to ask something like that, but I mean, no one's complained like, oh, why are you making me do? I thought I paid a cleaning fee. Why do I have to do dishes? And but no one's been like that, and yeah, it's been great.
Oh, that's good. Why don't you charge a deposit? Just because it's not a real deposit. I mean, that's true. But what I found was when I had my issues and I had to call them and get reimbursed, they don't take the deposit up front, but they have access to the renter's credit card after, they leave, and they can pull the money out if they need to without asking. So I don't have access to the deposit, but Airbnb does.
Yeah, and another thing on that note I heard is, like, let's say someone used a Visa debit card or something. At the moment of booking, they check if they take the payment, and then they check if they have or $500 in their card that would cover a deposit. But if you have a debit card, all you got to do is, after you booked and everything, and you just you just move that money somewhere else, and they can't get to it. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That is true.
So, so if there's guests out there, I hope we're not, spilling all the host secrets. But yeah, I just, on my end, why I never charged a deposit was because, like I said, I used Airbnb for years, and being a guest, I didn't know that wasn't 100% real deposit. I just oh crap, I'm not gonna, $500 deposit to stay at this place, and what if I knock over a lamp? That would suck. Whatever, I'd pay for a lamp, but what if they that's a priceless lamp that costs $400 or something? I just would, when I looked for a place, I'd see the ones that didn't charge a deposit, and I would always choose them over someone with a big deposit. So I saw it from my point of view, and I said, well, I don't want to do that to the guest. I don't want to charge a big deposit.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it.
But that's just my personal preference. But yeah, so what else was I gonna ask you? Do you offer cable TV, and if so, what kind of cable TV?
DirecTV is all they have up there, and yes, there's 3 TVs. 2 of them are big screen. One of them is hanging over the fireplace on the screened-in porch.
Oh, nice. So you don't put them in the rooms?
There's one in the master, and then there's a media room, and then there's one on the screened-in porch, which is so nice to sit out there and watch TV.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's not the kind of place you would go and hopefully and sit and watch TV. It's more of a gathering vacation place.
Yeah. We like to go to the beach a lot, and they have TV and cable there, but I've just never, I hardly ever turn it on myself.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, do you have any cool tips and pointers for the people that are wanting to try Airbnb or already doing it and would like to improve their Airbnbs?
I think we've pretty much covered it, honestly.
Yeah.
It's lots of fun. You meet new people. There's very little downside. And I think Airbnb is so reasonable. They don't charge a whole lot, but I guess they make it up in volume.
Yeah. Well, they charge the guests more than they charge us. So
Right. That's true. I forgot about that.
So yeah, but you're right about the volume, because to them they'd rather, rent to 1 million more people than, than make it. How do I word this? They'd rather get millions more people staying at spots than worrying about if they're the right people for your spot, kind of thing. That's where the volume over quality, I guess.
I guess one tip I would have is, you mentioned if somebody had a $400 lamp, that would be a problem if it were knocked over. Hopefully nobody has a $400 lamp in their house that they're renting out, because these things do happen. I do have a friend who rents her house as an Airbnb, and she's got antiques. And for some reason, the guest was ironing on a white towel on the antique table and left a lot of marks and white fibers in the wood. And Airbnb said, we're not going to cover an antique. That's crazy. And I kind of understood where they were coming from, even though my son was very upset.
Wow. Yeah, if my Mona Lisa gets ruined, I'll be mad. Well, thank you for being on the show. You've been a great guest, and thanks for all the tips and pointers. And How can they look up your list? Do you have your own website, or you just throw it on Airbnb?
I have the accessibility website I sent you, and it's on there. Or they can look on Airbnb. I'll send you everything compiled together to make it easier.
Awesome, and we'll put it all in the show notes for people so they can find you out there.
Okay, terrific.
Well, thank you so much, Leslie, and hope you have a wonderful day.
It was fun. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that was Leslie Farin. We'll be posting her information for her Airbnb over there in Granbury, Texas. And yeah, we hope you got something good out of this interview. It's nice that people are doing this, and anybody can do Airbnb. Give it a try, give it a shot. It's fun and often entertaining. Well, thank you so much for joining us at Live Let Thrive, and hit us up, liveletthrive@gmail.com. And yeah, we'll put everything in the show notes for you. Have a great day. Later.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Live, Let, Thrive. Be sure to tune in next week for all the latest in the world of Airbnb and all that entails. Bye-bye.